I don't have any friends at all. And I don't need friends because my dad's like that. He once told me, he says, you know what? You have friends, you gotta go and be nice and do things to be acceptable to them.
By the time Kevin Reed Gregson stood in court, the facts were already undeniable. A police officer was dead, a family was shattered, and a trail of warnings, ignored, minimized, or buried, led straight back to him. But the story did not begin in a courtroom, or even with a knife. It began decades earlier, with a child no one fully understood. Kevin was born on August 30th, 1966, and adopted just 2 days later by Reed and Faye Gregson in Ottawa. The only information his adoptive parents were given was that he had been born on a reserve and had Métis heritage. From a young age, Kevin's behaviour was volatile. He struggled to control anger, ran away from home repeatedly, and became violent toward his parents. He shot small animals for amusement. At times, his mother locked him in the garage out of fear he might hurt someone, or himself. Child welfare services intervened after one particularly severe incident. Kevin was removed, then later returned home. The problems did not stop. Raised in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Kevin continued to steal, taking items from churches, including televisions. At 19, he was convicted of theft, a charge that would later complicate his ambitions. Despite this, he completed a 2-year missionary assignment from 1988 to 1990. Fellow missionaries later described him as domineering and aggressive, a pattern that followed him everywhere. Kevin wanted to be a police officer. That conviction initially barred him from joining law enforcement. He waited the required 10 years, applied for a pardon, and eventually had his record sealed. Against the odds, he was accepted into the RCMP and graduated from Depot Division on August 4th, 1988. For a time, it seemed he had succeeded. He even received a citation for bravery after disarming an armed man in Saskatchewan. But the same traits that had followed him since childhood never disappeared. Kevin frequently clashed with supervisors, refused to cooperate, belittled colleagues, and saw himself as superior. Arrogant, volatile, and increasingly unstable. Suspended in 2008, he was left by the RCMP in administrative limbo, spending years appealing decisions and blaming others as his personal life collapsed after 3 controlling, abusive marriages. Behind the scenes, darker crimes emerged. The next morning, December 29th before dawn, RCMP Constable Eric Chapnick sat in his cruiser outside the Ottawa Civic Hospital, completing paperwork. Gregson emerged from the darkness and attacked without warning, striking Chapnick repeatedly in the neck. The assault was sudden and relentless. Chapnick had no chance to defend himself. Nearby paramedics intervened, restraining Gregson as Chapnick staggered into the hospital. Despite desperate efforts, his injuries were fatal. Eric Chapnick was 51. A former Polish army member who immigrated to Canada, he had served just 3 years with Ottawa Police. He was the first officer killed in the line of duty since 1977. His last words were, "Thank you." Gregson told officers he had come to the hospital looking for a fight. He said he wanted Chapnick's gun so he could kill himself at home. He also claimed to be highly trained in taking lives. What he did not explain was why he arrived wearing 2 bulletproof vests, carrying an RCMP-issued knife, and handcuffs. At trial in February 2012, Gregson admitted he killed Chapnick but denied intent.
Not guilty to first-degree murder. Today, the defense and Crown lawyers gave their final argument.
Gregson has now admitted in open court he killed Chapnick, but the defense case is centered on Gregson's intent. Gregson told the jury that when he attacked Chapnick outside the civic campus of the Ottawa Hospital, he wanted Chapnick's gun so he could kill himself at home. The same argument he made to police officers soon after his arrest. He aggrandizes he's insensitive, he's a bully. Nevertheless, he stood in court and told you he didn't intend to murder Eric Chapnick. But the Crown's Brian Holoka reminded jurors Gregson showed up with 2 bulletproof vests, handcuffs, and an RCMP knife.
His defense argued the attack was an elaborate suicide attempt. The jury was unconvinced. The evidence was overwhelming. He was found guilty of first-degree murder. Before sentencing, the full scope of Gregson's crimes came to light. He was convicted of 4 counts of assault and 4 counts of interference involving an arm. The attempted to read a victim impact statement but broke down in tears.
To read this victim impact statement but broke down crying. In it, she says that she forgives Gregson for what he did, but she also asks him to also address the court, but he did not apologize to the girl. Instead, in a short, rambling address, he said he never murdered Chapnick and that he had dreamed about this day when he was 20.
She asked Gregson to apologize. He did not. Instead, Gregson spoke about himself.
I don't pass the buck. I don't.
That's exactly what you're doing.
No, I'm not.
You think that somehow this whole event is acceptable because you
It's
were only
not
trying
acceptable.
to find a gun to kill yourself.
It's been going on since 2005. And that's what's kept me going. So I've been suicidal for 5 freaking years. So for me, it's no big deal. Sucks to be me. So it's just things like that. And it was just getting to me. Then they took my pay.
That was this summer, right?
No, that was, they kept it going until November. Then they
Oh,
took
okay.
it. But the thing they did wrong was they tied it into the panel, which they can't do, and that screwed themselves.
Okay.
Plus, when they took it...
So why? So there's my point. That's my point.
Yeah.
So you said they can't do this, and you've appealed this stuff. So why, at this juncture, do you decide, well, Kevin Gregson's checking out? Why? What now? I don't get it. I really don't.
Because I have $30.
Because you have a beautiful son. You have a wife that stood by you
I know.
to this point. You have children out west that'll always stand by you.
No, they won't. They
And
won't
you
talk to
have
me.
your church or your
Church is a
religion.
joke.
Your religion.
It's just time. I had enough. And
The
so
allegation
that's-
against you is that you took somebody's life.
Yeah.
We're on opposite sides of the table. We still do the same thing. They obviously hired us for the same reason.
Yeah. So, whatever.
I just don't know how you get to the conclusion.
To me, all people are bad. That's it.
That's problematic for me.
Well, yeah, I know, but that's how I view it. I look at everybody and they're all bad, and that's it. And they sometimes exhibit a bit of good, but for the most part, they're bad.
He received 10 additional years for the sexual crimes. Kevin Reed Gregson remains in prison. Constable Eric Chapnick did not go home that night. His family, friends, and colleagues were left with a silence that cannot be repaired.
But I got in there good. I was like zigzagging it, and it just still didn't work. Damn it. Oh well.
Android 31 out of service.
I don't like his windows.
Wait a minute, is Amberly here? Amberly? She passed away.
What? You did what?
I can't hear you.
Nice child.
Okay, hold on, come here.
Where is she?
Put her hands where
Where is she?
watching something.
She's in the back.
In mid-December 2022, while Independence, Kentucky was settling into the routine of the holiday season, something was already wrong inside a small shared home on a quiet street. Amberly Nicole Harris had stopped showing up for work. For 2 years, she'd been dependable at Bluegrass Quality Meats, working in quality assurance without missing shifts. Her absence stretched from one day into several, and by December 15th, her co-workers knew this wasn't normal. Concern turned into alarm, and a welfare check was requested. Police arrived at the residence Amberly shared with her boyfriend, 55-year-old Tommy Pell. When officers announced themselves and asked if Amberly was home, Tommy answered calmly. He told them he shot her and now she was in the back of the house.
Android 31 out of service.
I don't like his windows.
Wait a minute, is Amberly here? Amberly? She passed away.
What? You did what?
I can't hear you.
Nice child.
Okay, hold on, come here.
Where is she?
Put her hands
Where is she?
watching something.
She's in the back. Independence Police, make yourself known! Independence Police, make yourself known! Touch anything.
Yes, sir.
When? When did you do this?
What's your name? Tommy? Okay.
Just sit in your car.
Yeah, we'll work that out in a second, but I gotta make sure my guys inside are okay.
Just play phone.
Alright. Rungi, you guys good?
Yeah, we're good.
Alright. Hold on.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Tommy, I'm gonna read you something real quick, okay?
Miranda right.
Yeah. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you in court.
We're fighting. He's trashing my shit again.
Okay. Started the fight.
So trashing my shit.
What's going on? You shot your girlfriend?
The officers moved through the residence, calling out, clearing rooms, and then reached the bedroom. Amberly was lying on the floor. She had been dead for days. Tommy had been sleeping in the same house with her body. As the investigation unfolded, it became clear this was not the first time police had been called because of violence between the couple. Earlier in 2022, Tommy had been arrested for attempting to strangle Amberly. That case never moved forward because she chose not to cooperate with prosecutors. It was his second arrest for domestic violence, and had it resulted in a conviction, he would have faced 5 to 10 years in prison. Instead, he received probation and anger management classes. Amberly remained with him. When questioned about what happened, Tommy said the two had been fighting. He admitted that during an argument he shot her. The weapon was a 20-gauge shotgun. Investigators would later uncover another detail that reframed the entire timeline. 1 month before Amberly was killed, Tommy had taken out a $20,000 life insurance policy in her name. That information did not come up in his initial explanation. As he sat in the interrogation room, the weight of what he had done appeared to hit him. Tommy became physically ill and was transported to a hospital, where he was treated for dehydration before being returned to custody. He was formally charged with murder and domestic violence. Under Kentucky law, domestic violence murder is a capital offence, carrying a potential sentence of 20 to 50 years or life in prison. Amberly Harris was 32 years old. She was a mother of 3, originally from North Carolina, described by those who knew her as free-spirited and well-liked. She had struggled with addiction for years and had recently been doing better, working steadily and rebuilding her life after relocating to Kentucky.
One neighbor says Powell seemed like a nice guy.
He was absolutely seemed like a great guy. I've seen him help the maintenance man a couple times. I mean, very helpful person. Never could imagine what he did. Like, it's crazy.
But another neighbor says she always felt like something was off.
It didn't take long to figure out. You don't really want to spend a whole lot of time with Tom, but he's my neighbor.
What Powell told her,
I've done a bad thing, and I might get in trouble for this.
It's unclear how long Harris had been dead before police did the wellness check. That's still part of the investigation.
But I knew what he was. Okay, so I'm staying the distance, right? There's no way that man's getting anywhere. He's not going to put a foot in my home.
Court records show Tommy Powell has a history of domestic violence. November of last year, he was arrested for strangling Amberly Harris. And there's another domestic violence charge on his record back in 2010.
In a case like this is the prosecutor's worst nightmare, where a victim hasn't followed through in the past, and unfortunately the domestic violence escalates until she's the victim of a homicide.
At sentencing, Tommy Pell pleaded guilty. He asked the court to consider his military service in the Navy, along with a history of mental health struggles and addiction. The judge considered the request and denied leniency. Tommy Pell was sentenced to life in prison. In court, his attorney read a letter of apology addressed to Amberly's family. The family rejected it. Amberly was gone, and nothing could undo what had been done. The timeline left little doubt. The violence had been escalating. The insurance policy had been secured. The argument had ended with a shotgun blast. Amberly Harris never made it back to work. She never made it out of that house, and the man who killed her would spend the rest of his life behind bars.
We still don't have her. She's still gone.
There'll never be any room for forgiveness. I understand and accept that.
Powell's attorney read an apology letter addressed to Amberly's family in court.
I would never accept it. I don't believe it. If he cared for her, he wouldn't have done what she did.